Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Right there. Good afternoon. Open the program with, we have a fellow playing the bagpipes, and they love bagpipes, and he's going to play, it says here, unofficial anthem. I have no idea what that is.
It's unofficial.
Called Flower of Scotland. And in your bulletins and your programs, you'll see the words. How many know this wonderful?
Front row? Yeah, front row.
We have a trio. Well, we're all going to stand anyways, and they're going to sing, and you learn it as we go along. And sing it out. The three are going to sing it out, right? And the piper is going to come now.
Staying at the back. He's staying at the back.
He's staying in the back. Okay. And, we're ready to go. Really nice, and that was really, really nice. And now you're seated. I'm today sitting here, and a wonderful family. How do you know them? And I'm going to tell you some brief stories here that have happened because actually I want to start with Jane. And can I start with Jane? Honey, can you get me something there? Yeah.
You'd like to sit with Jane?
No, Jane, take this. Yeah, I'd like you to take this to her because I want to show everybody. Just over here, there's a little Baptist church, and our family moved to Lakefield back in the late '80s, and Jane was sitting in the. Oh, there she is! Don't you like her? That's just like Jane.
Thanks a lot, girl.
She's so cute. I thought, oh, she's so cute. I couldn't turn it down. I thought she could join us today and sit there and be part of the program. But we go back close to 40 years in ministry. But when we moved to Lakefield in the late 80s, my family, we went to church over here. There's a little Baptist church we went to. And when we went in, there was a lady playing the piano. And I was singing gospel quartets. And I thought, I'm looking for some music, and we'd maybe get a group going here. But I listened, I needed a piano player. And how many of you have heard her play the piano?
Most of us.
How many love her? They all love you.
I love her.
Anyways, Jane was on the piano. And I just thought, my goodness. So when the service was done, I slipped down to her. And I said, hi, my name's Ron. We just moved here. Have you ever thought you'd like to play in a quartet? See me after, she said. And so that was the beginning of...
Correction. You asked me, was interested in playing in a male quartet.
Oh,
That was the key.
it was a
part.
male quartet.
And it never happened, Bill.
Well, it never happened because we loved you so much we wanted you to come with us and play and sing. But anyways, later on as we journeyed through, we met Alex. And I went to the store that I was in. I wanted to have that. I got to take that with this guy. This is what Alex would look like. So we brought them along, and we can look over. But aren't they cute? And
No, I didn't make them.
No, they weren't me. I've been really busy. I've been really busy with them. But anyways, we ended up starting a group, and the next thing you know, Brian Fisher and his family came along, and then we had Bear Wickham and Teresa. Next thing, we had about 6 of us, and we had a wonderful group called Heaven Bound. How many remember that famous group? Everybody that was in it. I see that, yeah. But anyways, here we were, and we got singing all over Ontario. And when we got rich and famous, we wanted to buy a bus. And I thought, I've always wanted, you see the pros, and they buy Silver Eagles and those nice big buses. I went shopping with Brian Fisher, and he would not, and he didn't go there. We went shopping, I think we bought a little school bus, and we painted it, didn't we, Brian?
I think Fred painted it.
Fred.
Paints that.
The
I
dad,
did the letter.
he painted the bus, and and it held about 20 of us. And so that's when the stories began, and we learned about Alex, and Alex was always sort of in the background, but we found out that he had sung in a quartet, a musical group, for 2 years, just a while back in Toronto. So we knew that in all the years that we've been singing with Jane and ministering together, Alex was at home. And we used to practice in a little church in Lindsay. And we would go, and it started off, we would have coffee and crackers. Well, let's bring some donuts. And then why don't we have some spaghetti and meatballs and lasagna? And so it ended up when we had a 3-hour practice, we were all gaining weight like crazy. And we had a lot of fun there. But and Alex was so good, and I said, Jane would come 6 or 7, and she'd get home. We practiced for 3 to 4 hours. We tried to get good. We wanted to get better so we could sing and get out and get rich and famous. Not really. We were doing our ministry. But apparently one night we practiced a little overtime, and I think Alex came close to phoning the police to look for her because it was late. I don't know whether he phoned them or whether he threatened to phone them.
Fred.
He just threatened. But those kind of stories, and I got to meet Julie and James on the bus and the 2 kids, and we had a wonderful time with that ministry, and we were looking for a steel guitar player. We put an ad, I think I put an ad in the paper, and we got an ad, this guy wanted to come and try out. And Barry Wickham came, and he's here. I would like the part of Heaven Bound that are here, the originals. Can you stand up and show the people? Just Barry and Teresa and the Fishers. Who else is here? This is the original Heaven Bound quartet. And we had Bill Eakins, who played bass guitar for us, and his wife was Pauline. Right, and she was kind of crazy, but she was good. But we sang all over the place, and I just wanted them to know this is the original group, and we have now today, and we still have concerts, and we still do ministry. It's been close to 40 years that Jane has been with us, and that we've ministered together and played and sang together. And so for me, it has been a real joy. And about Alex, I loved the guy. Found out that he was quiet, and he had a sense of humor. And I'm going to tell you about that a little later, about his humor. But one year, Alex and Jane asked my wife and I could we go to Florida? And they had a place down there. They had some bands for us. Wow, are you kidding me? So, okay, we're going to follow you down. And at that time, they had a white van. Alex said, follow me. Well, we got on and it was pouring rain. I could hardly see from here to you. and his back lights were not working on the back. And I'm chasing this white van at 140 kilometers down the big highways, and he's doing, I thought, if we lose him, we ain't gonna get to Florida. But anyways, we followed him, and Alex, he had a heavy foot, didn't he, Jane? And he, a heavy foot.
Yeah, he believes he should keep up with the traffic.
Keep up with the
Keep up
traffic.
with the traffic, okay. So those are things that, along the line that I thought, I gotta remember kind of what happened with Alex and stuff like that. So I have other stories, but I want to move along now, and I just I learned this about Alex. I had this written down so I could remember that he was the youngest in the clan. He was eight. They had 8 children.
No, he wasn't youngest.
Brother Jim's the youngest.
Well, he was
Alex was one of 8.
very close to Jim.
Yeah,
To him.
he was number 4.
I'm glad you're sitting right here. So. But I had a lot of changes in that happening here. But where was I going with this? Okay.
Alex is one.
Yeah, he was the
4 of 8, and
4 of
he's closest to
Jim.
youngest brother.
Jim. And Jim wanted to come. The brother wanted to come, and we just got news that he's very ill, and he couldn't be here. He was driving from Michigan, all the way from Michigan to be here. And but I guess he has written, someone in the family can read a letter, and he wrote, and he started to read, so James' son, Andy is coming. Yeah, Andy's coming. Andy's coming. I've got a lot here. Andy's coming, and he's got, how many pages he got there?
I have 7 pages.
7 pages, okay.
His
It's
wife.
Single-sided, that's all. Sure.
Sure.
That's good.
At church, we have a girl that did that, and it came right off. This one's safe, Andy.
Perfect.
There you go.
Okay. Can you hear me all right? Move that to the side. Okay. So this is what Jim has written, and I'm going to do my best. If there's any Scottish words that I screw up, please don't hold it against me. And that goes for the family back in Scotland too that are watching. So he says, "What can I say about my big brother Alex Todd? Simply that he was the best big brother a little brother could only dream of. That's Alex Todd. He started doing things for me as soon as I was old enough to appreciate them. Simple things, like taking me to Rangers games at Ibrox Park in Glasgow. He would even go to the Rangers. He would even go early to take me to the main entrance to let me get the autographs of all the Ranger stars as they came into the stadium main entrance off the team. Alec had even got me a proper autograph book to get the autographs. I got them all. John Gregg, Willie Johnson, Kai Johansson, and the great Colin Stein. All of them except Willie Henderson, who obviously thought he was too important to sign kids' auto books, as he would rush past his fellow players with his kit bag over his shoulder as though he was late. But the other players were just as late, but still, I just lost my spot. Just as late. But still, Alec took me to the main entrance every game until Alec finally grabbed Willie Henderson's arm as he was squeezing past his fellow players. And this is Alec quoting. "Hey, Willie," said Alec, "you too important to sign this wee boy's autograph book? Because he has all of them except yours, and you're his hero," which he actually was. "Humph!" snorted Willie Henderson as he grabbed the autograph book and pen from Alec's hands, signed it, and slapped it back into Alec's hands. Now he wouldn't have to leave 90 minutes earlier to go to the games, but I'm convinced he would have for his wee brother. Trip to London. When Alec was 18, I guess he had got a job in London, which was great because he learned a lot about London. He moved back home maybe about a year later and said to our mom he wanted to take me to see London. Wow, what a great big brother. My mom scraped up the money needed to pay my coach fare to London. Food money for me and Alec, and money for tube fares, etc. Tube fares is a subway, I found out. And off we went to London. Alec got us bed and breakfast at a house in Wimbledon, only a short walk from Wimbledon tube station. And so we were in London every day. I got to see the crown jewels, went around the Tower of London, changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace. I got to stand right in front of the door at 10 Downing Street, which you can't do now, of course. We had lunch in the same Ma and Pa cafe every day, which Alec had probably found from his days living in London because the food was great. We would spend some of each day at a cobbled square area not far from the cafe, watching street buskers and acts, which were awesome. Sword swallowers, escape artists, jugglers, magicians, etc., which to a 10 or 11-year-old boy were incredible. So many years later, when a TV show called America's Got Talent first aired, people would say at work, "Wow, have you been watching that new talent show, America's Got Talent, on TV, with all those awesome acts?" I simply said, "Nah, seen it all live years ago." The family man. Alec didn't just do things for me, but his whole family. Not being the social type like many guys his age, he never squandered his money on drinking, clubbing, and going out. Except to Rangers games, of course, with me, his little brother, in tow. The wonderful thing Alec did was to buy a holiday hut at Seton Stands, holiday camp, way past Edinburgh, just past Port Seton. Many of my happiest memories were from going to Port Seton, thanks to Alex and for the many family members and friends we could take. These huts were actually little chalets. We had one with one large bedroom. It had 2 double full-size beds where all the kids would sleep. The girls in one bed, the boys in the other bed. 4 of each, actually. There was a bead curtain between the beds, across the doorway, leading into the living room, where I think our mom and dad managed to get us sleep on the sofa and chair somehow. In the living room, through a door, was a porch where the Keller gas stove was, and also a sink and an outside door. There was no electricity, toilet, or running water. Light came from the 2 gas mantles in the hut, powered by a Keller gas tank. We were located at the top of the field in hut number H78. One of my funniest memories of Alec was when we went night fishing off Port Seton Harbor, a fishing town with loads of fishing and lobster trawlers in the harbor. My fishing equipment consisted of a little fishing rod and reel that I was able to get with my mom's Kensitas cigarette coupons at their coupon exchange store in downtown Glasgow. So, my equipment, it wasn't very impressive. Just as we were setting up to start on a fishing night, under the light at the end of the harbor, these 2 men turned up with their expensive multiplier reels and beach caster rods with seats and cooler boxes, etc. "You don't expect to catch anything with that," joked one of the men, as they both cast way out into the darkness. You could hardly see their heavy weights hitting the water, but Alec knew all the fish were in the harbor entrance right below us, as the in and out flow of the tide into the harbor would stir up the seabed, luring the fish right below us, as the fishing boats, on returning to the harbor after a day's of fishing, would dump all the fish cleanings into the water, yuck, as they came back from their day's fishing, as they would be descaling and cleaning of the fish they had caught in their nets and lobster pots on the return to Port Seton. Lovely. After about 40 minutes, Alec and I caught as many fish as we could put in the bag. We had brought with us taking turns on the rod and reel between each fish. As we walked away, Alex said to the guys, lucky for me and my wee brother, the fish can't see the cost of the fishing equipment at the other end of the hook. Otherwise, you guys would have mountain of fish right now. Ah, away with ye. Or something to that effect. Said one of the men. But Alec never told them the secret of how to catch the fish. Yes, we all had many, many happy weekends there. This is a little footnote. If you don't already know, soccer in Scotland is mostly about two top rival teams, commonly referred to as the Old Firm, which is the Glasgow Rangers, always in blue, white, and red, while the other team is called Glasgow Celtic, and their colors are white, green, and gold. The support base for the Rangers are predominantly Protestant, while the support base for Celtic is predominantly Catholic. So you know where we're going with this. Each of them has their own stadium, and rivalry is so great and dangerous that when these two teams are playing against each other, no matter which stadium they were playing in, fans are seated separately according to whether they were Rangers fans or Celtics fans. Each team has their own separate entrances and exits for the fans. Imagine that as Montreal and Toronto. One of the last things my brother Alec did for me just days before he emigrated to Canada was to take me to a Rangers and Celtic game at the Rangers home stadium called Ibrox. This game is now referred to as the Awful Ibrox Disaster Game on Saturday, January 2nd, 1971. I was so excited, of course, my first Old Firm game, as they were called. Every other game Alec took me was about 25,000 fans in attendance. And even then, leaving the game and walking down Stairway 13, he's got shown in the picture. There's going to be pictures over there that you can see some of the stuff as well as I'm reading. Well, when I'm done reading. Walking down Stairway 13 was always scary to me because a huge majority of the fans who stood behind the goal at the Rangers end left by Stairway 13 down the nearest stairway aisles, again in the picture, because they were the closest to the standing area behind the goal. You couldn't even see the top of the stairs going up until you suddenly stumbled on the top step. I was tiny at 15 years old, so I couldn't see the people's heads in front of me dropping down because all I could see was the middle of the person's jacket or coat in front of me. So I just had to keep shuffling with my feet until I felt the edge of the top step, and then I started my descent. Sometimes I would suddenly be squashed against the vertical pole of the handrail at the very top of the stairs, which I would then need to squeeze myself around. But I knew then that the first step was right there, even though I couldn't look down to see it. And that was with a crowd of 25,000. But this was Old Firm New Year's game, had 100,000 size crowd. Now I was even more worried about leaving safely at the end of the game. We watched the game, and with only a few minutes to go, there was no score. And already fans were drifting away to the top of the steps so they could get a head start down the stairway's 13 steps. But many of them would just stand at the top and watch the game, as they'd already made their way through the first tricky part of getting to the top of the terracing steps. Then there was 1 minute to go, and Jimmy Johnston scored for Celtic. The Celtic fans at the other end of the stadium went crazy, of course, waving all their Irish green and white and gold flags with the huge letters IRA sewn onto each panel. Come on, Alec, let's go, I said, as thousands were now making their way to leave up towards the top of the terracing. Alec wanted to stay, saying there was still injury time to be added to the 90 normal minutes, and still opportunity for Rangers to score a goal. But Alec could see I was very worried, so we made our way to the top of the terracing. Getting on to Stairway 13 was even scarier now, with a lot more people than I was used to, pushing and jostling to get down to Copland Road to get to the tube station, which is probably the main reason Stairway 13 was by far the busiest stairway. Alex and I had literally just stopped off the very bottom step when a huge roar went up from the Rangers fans. Colin Steen had just scored the equalizing goal for the Rangers. "See you," said Alec as he lightly punched my shoulder. "We missed seeing the goal." However, we kept on moving towards the exit. We made our way out safely. Alex had driven his car there so that we wouldn't have to stand in the huge queues. That's Canadian for lineups. We got home around 5:45 p.m. We put on the telly, and 6 o'clock news came on BBC Scotland with a picture of Ibrox Park. "Look," I said, "they're showing Ibrox," because of the last-minute ending. But no, it was much worse than that. The somber-faced newsreader looked blankly at the camera as the caption appeared at the bottom of the TV screen. "Many people dead at Ibrox Park Football Stadium, Glasgow, on staircase 13. This was right where we had just been. The number of dead and injured kept climbing throughout the news, which was on constant display throughout the evening. In the end, 66 people lost their lives on that day on staircase 13, crushed as some people tried to make their way down the stairs while others were trying to make their way back up the stairs. After staircase 13 were made of the same kind of heavy, strong wood used on high-rise building sites for scaffolding, etc., and were used because of their strength. But on this day, they were left broken and twisted like thin metal coat hangers. But Alec and I were safe because Alec respected my desire to leave early, thus avoiding this tragedy." This is a note from James. "It is interesting to note that exactly 1 year ago today, August 6, 2023, while Alec and I were in Scotland, a family member took Alec to Ibrox Park Stadium in Glasgow for a special behind-the-scenes tour of the stadium. There have been many changes over the years, of course, and a large monument stands outside the front gates, honoring the 66 people who lost their lives that day many years ago. Alec enjoyed the tour very much, and it brought back many memories of that day spent with his little brother Jim." Well, enough gloom. A couple of weeks after this tragedy, Alec emigrated to Canada to start his new life, and at the same time, I began my career at Singer Sewing Machines, where Alec and my mother had also worked. I was able to gain my apprenticeship as a tool maker, giving me the qualifications and skills to move further forward, and that finally led me to Michigan, the United States, to be closer to Alec, Jane, and their wonderful family. I have no doubt that I will see Alec again one day. No offense, Alec, but I hope it is not too soon, because eternity is just a wee bit longer than the time we had here together here on earth. So, here's to Alec Todd, the best big brother that a little brother could ever have.
Well, I think we should give Jim, I sent this to Jim. Thank you for writing this.
Just before, if you don't mind, I have a couple things I'd like to share. Of course, I'm a Canadian, and I'm married into a family with a Scottish dad, so I got to, learn a lot. But the one memory I have is when we went to Scotland in 2007. Madeline was only like 3 or 4 at the time, and it was a blast. James was there, and Julie, and me, and Madeline, and then Jane and Alec, and we had such a great time, 2 weeks, and Alec, happily showing us the sights, especially me, because I'd never been to Scotland, let alone outside of Canada. So it was good. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs that day, and even when the memories come up on Julie's Facebook page, we still laugh at some of the things that happened over there. And the other story was, while we were there, I got to meet some of his siblings. One being his sister Jeanette and Harry and their family, and then his brother Eric and his wife and family. And we went that night to visit Eric and his wife, and we're sitting in there, and I can hear Alex saying, "Now, just remember, it's going to be hard to understand what Eric is saying, because in Glasgow, their accent is really thick and heavy, and even his family had a hard time understanding what he was saying." There's Eric right here on the left, and Jeanette's in the middle, and Alec, of course. So we went in, we're sitting there, and we're having a conversation, and I'm just kind of taking it all in, and every now and then Eric would say something, and I would, yeah, or I would go, really, whoa, wow. So anyways, at the end of the night, we get into the car, and both Julie and Alec commented about how well I understood what he was saying. I go, I didn't understand a bloody thing he said. The only thing I was paying attention to was the way he would go, hey, and then I would be my cue to go, oh yeah, So anyways, those are two of the memories I have, and I was thankful to have him as a father-in-law. Thank you.
Okay.
You just want to put it like there and thank.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Great stories, and we wish Jim could be here with us. He wanted to be here so badly, but great stories that we heard about his life. And as I was sitting here, I remember we used to store our bus for Heaven Bound at Jane and Alex's home. And Jane, you did a lot of the driving, didn't you? You did most of the driving. What was the matter with Brian and I don't remember.
She wouldn't let us anywhere near it.
She wouldn't let us in. That was it. That was it. But I recall we were waiting. We would drive out to the ranch, and we would park and wait for her to have her breakfast and whatever her and Alex were doing. And I'm sure they just finished the great breakfast. And when Jane come out, she was as white as that sheet, Julie. She was white, and she got in the bus. She was shaking, and I didn't think she was going to be able to change gears. And we said, what's the matter? You won't believe this. I was over at the sink, and a snake come right out of my cap. That was probably the most exciting I ever saw Jane. And she was, but you settled down. I think you drove the bus after 3 tranquilizers and a few things we had to give you. But that was a story that I had kind of missed, and I just wanted to share that because that was a moment we all remember, right, Brian, and all you heaven-bound people. And I got the 2 granddaughters, Lydia and Madeline. They're going to come up now. And I told them this Mike was their friend, not their enemy. No. Come on, girls. You'll do a great job.
Hi, I'm Olivia Chatton. I'm one of the eldest granddaughters of Alex Todd. The thing I have learned over the years is to never fight with Grandpa.
Yeah.
Anything that Scottish people do. Like number 1, never tell Grandpa anything about the Iron Brew, the Scottish drink, is just like the one that they have down here. Because apparently it's not. Different taste, different aftertaste. No. Same thing. Number 2, never give him something green. Why? No one knows. Probably because of the Celtic Rangers game. Or, of course, it's green. Ugh. He goes golfing, there's green everywhere. I mean, how's that any different?
Because it's Celtic.
Of course. 3, never argue with him how to pronounce words. This happened to me. How to pronounce IDA. He had to always pronounce it Ida. Is it Ida? No, it's IDA. I tried to tell him, he's like, no, it's Ida. Don't know how hard it is to tell him that it's IDA. But a few things that I learned from him is how to play golf. Yes, golf. Well, I will never play it again. But it was fun. He took me to golf, and after that, he got lunch with me sometimes. Then he introduced me to people, and he also taught me how to play this fishing game. Again, will I ever play it again? No. But yes, it was fun as well. And 2 years ago, we had a dinner at our current house. It was Thanksgiving, and Grandpa, Alex, and Grandma Jane were there, and my other grandparents, my dad's parents, came over. It was fun. We got to laugh. It was amazing. Another thing I learned is to never eat with just your mouth while eating cake. Why? Because he will shove the cake in your face. This happened to me when I was younger. It was my cousin Hamish's birthday. When I was younger, I thought, hey, what if I just ate my cake with no fork? So I did. And as I was eating, he pushes the bottom of my plate up into my face, causing just all the icing to go over my face, making a mess. Everyone was just sitting there laughing along with him until my uncle, Uncle James, picked me up, took me over to the edge of the water, and was tempted to throw me in. Did he throw me in though? No. Thank you for that. But Grandpa Alex did this out of love. He wanted to make me laugh, and he did. I will always remember everything, but I still learned my lessons, and I still never learned my lessons, actually. My lessons, and will keep doing them. Thank you.
Okay, I've got this on my phone, so say Pamela, I can read this. It's touching to see so many faces here today as we say goodbye to and celebrate such a wonderful life that we've lost. For those who don't know me, I'm Madeline, the eldest granddaughter of Jane and Alex. I consider myself very fortunate that I got 20 years with my grandpa, as not everyone Sorry. I consider myself very fortunate that I got 20 years with my grandpa, as not everyone gets that much time. Over the last few months, I've reflected on all the memories I have and shared with my grandpa, and I thought today I would share a few of those stories with you to remember the happy times and maybe even have a laugh. I'd like to start off the stories with one that I just learned about a couple months ago. On July 17th, 2004, my grandma and grandpa were patiently waiting in a hospital waiting room among other family members as their eldest daughter Julie was having her first child. That was when Jane and Alex's son-in-law Andy and his sister Barb emerged from the delivery room and announced, "It's a girl!" In a swarm of chaos and excitement, Alex ran over to the first person he saw, which was my Aunt Barb, and gave her the biggest bear hug she's ever had, showcasing his enthusiasm for his very first granddaughter. And if you couldn't figure it out by now, the granddaughter was me. Even though I just learned this story recently, it is such a heartwarming and loving story that I can share with you all today. In 2010, when I was only 5 years old, we all drove down to Florida for a couple weeks, and many memories were made on this trip. But the one thing I always remember from that trip was when my grandpa and I had made this master plan to tell everyone we were going to this buffet restaurant, but instead we were really going to McDonald's with a massive playland that I love so much. And in my little head, I really thought we were going to fool everyone. So my grandpa drove us there, and I remember everyone acting so surprised when we weren't at the buffet place. My grandpa and I were so proud of ourselves for pulling this off and tricking everyone. It was one of the many bonding moments him and I shared on that trip. I did find out years down the road that everyone knew McDonald's was the plan all along. But my grandpa had played along and let me believe we truly were the best schemers. And to this day, it's a memory I still smile at when I think of it, and I cherish that moment even more so now. Growing up, I used to have many sleepovers at my grandparents' place, and there's so many things I could tell you about today, like the smell of homemade bread and begging him to make me toast with margarine for breakfast, the drawer full of Happy Meal toys my grandpa would keep for me, or walking around outside and crushing the mole holes to protect turtle eggs. But the one thing we always did when I was at their place was I would sit on the little swing set we had, and my grandpa would grab these old hula hoops, and as I would swing, he would hold it out so I could hook my legs over it and toss it. He would then proceed to bend down to pick it up, and little me would swing forward again and lightly kick him, which now saying it out loud sounds awful, but it was our little game, and he loved it as much as I did. He always slept good after I had visited. The last memory I want to share with you today is probably the most famous one in our family, and it took place during our trip to Scotland in 2008. Sitting with my grandparents on the plane, and before I had passed out from the gravel my parents had given me to sleep, my grandpa was showing me all the different buttons on the plane and telling me what they were for. There it was, the infamous red button. He pointed to it and explained what it did. Accidentally, he hit the button, so a few minutes later the flight attendant showed up and he had to explain what had happened. 4-year-old me thought this was hilarious, and for the rest of that trip, and for many years following that trip, we still joked about that red button. And even in his last few days of life, we still joked about that red button, as my grandpa repeatedly pressed his red call button to get a blanket for my grandma. It is bittersweet knowing that was the last time him and I could share that joke together, but I know that memory will live on in our family forever. I wish I could share all my memories of my grandpa, but then we'd be here for days. But thank you for letting me share even just a small part of my grandpa and the loving person that he was with all of you today. And may we remember these moments forever.
There is nothing like grandchildren. How many have got grandchildren here? Look at, don't you just love them? I have one that calls me at 8:02 every Sunday night for the last 2 years, and Papa tells her stories. That was beautiful, girls. Thank you for sharing, and you can feel the love that they had for their grandpa. And Alex was a great man. We loved him. Is there anyone here that would? Because we changed that around, didn't we? Julie, it's your turn to come, and I'm sure you have some great memories.
Hi everyone, my name is Julie, and I'm Alex's favorite daughter. Well, I'm his only daughter, but I prefer favorite. Thank you so much to you all for joining us today to celebrate the life of my dad. In addition to the role of father, he was also a husband, grandfather, brother, and more. The support we have received through calls, texts, cards, and more has meant so much to us. Knowing my dad, he would be wondering why we would bother having an event like this for him. He would shake his head at our crazy notion to hold an event to honor and remember him. Some of you in this room knew my dad well, while others did not have the opportunity to meet him. He was a quiet man who spent more time at home really than he did anywhere else, but I hope to give you a glimpse into the man he was to those who knew him best. Dad had a great sense of humor and loved a good laugh, usually at our expense. If you weren't careful, you would end up being the main character in his stories on Facebook. In addition to loving a good laugh, he was smart and probably would have done well on the TV game show Jeopardy! Instead of Jeopardy! He was on 2 Canadian game shows, Definition and Headline Hunters. I learned a lot from him, and so today I would like to share with you some nuggets of wisdom that I call life lessons from a smart aleck Scotsman. Number 1, anything worth inventing was invented by a Scot. Television, the the telephone, penicillin, the refrigerator, and the flushing toilet, to name a few. Number 2, sometimes you need to accept defeat. When I was about 3 years old, Dad burped, and I gasped, and I said, "Say, excuse me." "Okay," he said, "excuse you." He said, "No, say, excuse me." I did. "Excuse you." "No, say, excuse me. Excuse you." By this point, I felt I knew what to do. "Okay, say, excuse you." "Okay, excuse you." Sometimes you just couldn't win against him, so just better to drop it. Number 3, mean what you say and say what you mean. There was a time when the only clock in the living room was on the VCR, which was beside Dad's chair. Depending on where you were in the room, you couldn't always see the clock, so you would have to ask what time it was. "What time is it over there?" Dad would look at the clock, and then at us and say, "Same time it is over there." Or we might ask, "What does the clock say?" "I don't know. I've never heard it speak." Unfortunately for my husband, I have inherited this trait from my dad. He once asked me how I found dinner, to which I replied, "I just looked at my plate and there it was." Dad had a good laugh when I told him that one. Number 4, pronounce words properly. There are words that we didn't pronounce properly, and Dad would get on our case about it. For example, the word mirror has 2 syllables. If you're not careful, you might like you're saying mir, and that's a Russian space station. Number 5, a driver's license is just a suggestion. Dad once drove from Scotland to England when he was 15 and had no driver's license. I asked him what happened, and he told me he had a cop come up to the car and ask for his license, so he just told him he forgot it at home. Famously in our family, many years later on our family trip to Scotland, he handed his license to the clerk at the car rental desk, only to find out that his license had been expired for 6 months. So what did my dad do? Well, he drove anyways for the next 2 weeks during our trip, while Mom panicked that he would get pulled over or we would end up in an accident. Number 6, the joke is always worth it if you can make somebody completely freak out. Once, he dropped Mom and I off to go shopping and said he would park the car and meet us inside. A half hour later, Mom and I met up with him and headed to where he said he had parked the car. He saw this beautiful looking Dodge Caravan, the white one that you talked about, and started admiring the van before deciding to check to see if it was unlocked. I was so worried and kept, I started flipping out saying, "Dad, what are you doing? What if they catch you?" He wasn't worried, and then he proceeded to get into the van and start checking out the interior. I was so worried and kept trying to get him out when he finally told me to get in. It was our new van that he had just picked up after he dropped us off, and so had a good laugh at me that day. Number 7, a good Scot is thrifty, not frugal, thrifty, and likes to get the best deal. Picture it, our first trip to Walt Disney World. I was 10 years old, and the children's reduced rate was for 9 years and younger. So Dad told me to crouch down and look like you're 9. The best deal he ever got, though, was in the 80s when we went to Exhibition Stadium for a Jays game. We got in our seats, and a little while later, a guy came up to us and said we were in his seats. Well, Dad argued with the guy and told him they were our seats. The man showed us tickets, and while we were in the right seats, we were there a week early. So we left the seats, went up and stood at the back until an usher came along. Instead of kicking us out, they found us some seats, and then a week later, we went back for the correct game and sat in our assigned seats. Now, many would say that Dad goofed that day, but to him, we got 2 games for the price of 1, so that was a great deal. Number 8, leaves make great musical instruments, particularly privet leaves that you find on the hedges that they have over in Scotland. Dad tried to show us how to fold the privet leaf and blow into it to make music. None of us were any good at it, and we must have looked like complete fools sitting in the car at a gas station, blowing into rolled up leaves. We were all just like this. Life was never dull, as you can imagine. And losing Dad has left a hole in our family. Thankfully, we have many memories that leave us laughing, remembering the good times we had. It helps somewhat to ease the pain of losing him and having to come to terms with everything so quickly. Dad, I miss you so much, and every day I think about you. It still seems hard to believe you aren't here anymore with us, and I'm not sure I will ever get used to it. I love you very much, and I look forward to the day when I see you again. Thank you.
That was just great, Julie. Do you think I might need that?
No.
Okay. Where are we?
Is there anyone else?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say before.
Okay.
We're looking, the door's open now. If you're here and you have a memory and you'd like to come up and share quickly with us, just get up because everyone's using this mic. And if you have a story that you would like to share and a memory, anybody out there, you're welcome to come. We'll give you 8 seconds.
And we're a little limited in our distance, but I can come to you if there's anyone who would like to say something.
Let me see. What's about there? Is there anyone that would like to sing? Brian, would you like to sing?
I know there's so many friends here. Well, I'd like to say that I didn't know Alex that well at all, but what I did know of him, man, I loved it when he called about 2 weeks before he passed away. I loved listening to the sound of his voice. He had that accent that was just so cool. And he and Merlin had a nice chat that day. And of course it was about golf, all right? And so they had a wonderful chat. But I know that Jane is grieving, but man, that lady is made of such strong, strong stuff. And we all know that it's the Lord that's getting her through. And we so appreciate that she's at our church and she has just continued to be ministering there because that's where she wants to be. And so I'm going to allow my husband Merlin, if there's no one that would like to say anything, to do something that's a little, is this mine?
See what it says here, we're Scotsmen.
We're Scotsmen.
We found these hats and we're going to wear them because I have a story to tell.
Hold this and you.
Don't you get the blue one? I get that one.
Oh, sorry.
That's because you've got a bigger head.
Thanks. I do have a bigger head.
Okay, Jane called me a couple of weeks after and we were talking and I said, I golf with Alex. And we golf Catch-A-One just out here. We used to play it. And we would walk and he would hit the ball further than me. And it was something he did Scottish I didn't understand, but it was nice. It sounded nice anyways. But we played together and had a lot of great times. And Jane called me and I said, what are you doing with Alex? Clubs. I'd love to find if you haven't got a home. She said, those are all, I'll gather them all up. So she gathered them up, brought them over to me and I washed them all up. They're all pings, a whole set of right-handed pings. And so then I remembered the story about Heaven Bound and golf. And Jane was there and Alex was there and it was about 8 or 10 of us went out and they said, let's have a game of golf. Well, Alex and I, we were kind of the only golfers. And thank you, just hold them. Yeah.
I will.
Maybe I need it for a crutch here. They said, we'd like to have a game of golf. Well, you make arrangements. So we went to the owner and then we knew that 10 was going to be slow. And as people want to get through, what time could we golf that we're not going to hold anybody up? Well, it was evening, kind of evening, and just before it gets dark. So we all go out there, and all 10 of us, Brian remembers, Probably, yeah. Do you remember Barry? No.
Barry wasn't there.
We hadn't hired you yet.
No.
Okay. But anyways, we gathered together, and here we are out there at Cachuana, and we all gathered around and sitting in our carts. Jane was over there with Alex. I don't know where Alex was right then. But anyways, okay, Merlin, you're the golfer. Tell us some etiquette. What's the rules? And I said, okay, first of all, you address the ball. Hello, ball. You just say, greet the ball. Hi, ball. And then you get back and you make sure that you're behind. Everybody is behind.
Okay.
Everybody's behind.
Behind what?
Behind the hitter.
Okay, behind the person that's hitting the ball.
Hitting the ball, because it's dangerous. And then, the biggest thing of all, you be quiet.
Okay.
Not when they're swinging, do not say anything.
Okay.
So they said, okay, Merlin, you're the pro, you're the golfer. You get up and show us. So this is Alex's old driver. That is his ping driver. I brought it tonight. It's still, I'm going to find a nice home for his Cubs. But this is Alex's driver. As you can see, he hit the wrong way. I hit this way, and he hit that way.
He hit the right way. You hit the wrong way.
He hit the wrong way.
You hit the right way. Merlin hits the wrong way.
I hit that. Anyways.
Okay.
Alex and I got along really well. And so I get up there and I'm going to swipe over and I set the ball in. Let's see here. Everybody, I thought, no. I'm going to hit the ball. I'm going to drive it. I'm going to knock right out of orbit. I need to swing a little bit. Can you step back?
Sure.
Yeah. And I go back here. Merlin! Jane. I walked over to the card and I said, Jane, if you yell at that again, I'm going to thump you. Do not yell in the middle of my swing.
Sure.
You get the story? She says, yeah, sorry. I just had to say that. So I go back to the ball and I get over it again. I'm just right about here. Merlin! She did it again.
She did it again?
Yeah, and I threatened her with her life. I went over, and I walked over to her, and I said, no, Jane, don't do that again. You won't be able to play the piano for a year. Anyways, I go back to my ball. All was peace and quiet. Okay? Nobody's going to say a word. And I got up.
Am I out of your way?
Yes.
Okay.
I got about 85 miles an hour, and I hit the ball. And I knocked the skin, everything exploded in my face and smoke. I thought, holy mackerel. I knocked the skin right off. Did you see that? And I guess what happened when I was over there, Alex was over there, and he put this goofy ball on my tee. And when I hit it, it went boom. It was just like...
Just like the smoke up here.
And so it was, I have never had a pride, and that was Alex and Jane. And so that's why I can buy little dolls, get little dolls like this, and because we love you. But Alex, and I didn't, you know what, you don't even notice the change. You look at the ball, and it was that, the same color. You would not believe, I thought I had really knocked the skin right, it blew up. I had never. And so we survived, didn't we? We've been still doing music together. But that was probably, I'm trying to think with Alex, that was probably the best story that I know about Alex. So my wife and I had the privilege here just last year, and we did a little CD up in Westport, and she's asked us if we'd sing one song off of it. So we'd like to do that for you now. This is Jane's choice. That she wanted. Are we ready?
Yep, I hope so.
Does anybody want to have a crack at this?
Changing your hat?
You want to be a Scotsman or will I be a cowboy?
Both.
You're singing a song, so.
Oh.
All right. this is your mic. We're a little limited in space and cord up here, so this is going to be, have your drink, darling. It's not an iron brew, it's water, but you're going to be treated to iron brew later. Yeah, it's part of what's going to be coming in the reception time. So, here's your mic, Merlin. And I'll just be a little ways away. This is a song that Jane requested. It's called Amazing God, as Merlin said. And let's go ahead and play it. Andy, a little more volume, please.
You ought to hear the story, how I made it through, when life was full of trouble, pain and fear. The answer may seem simple, though everything else crumbles. One thing has remained through all the years. I still serve an amazing God. He's been with me every mile my weary feet have trod. He still cares. He still heals. He's still mending broken hearts and drying tears. This old world is bound to change, but I'm glad I know the one who always stays the same, and my song will ever be. Amazing God, you're still amazing me. The Lord who parted waters still makes a way today. He's always brought me through the troubled seas. The one who fed the thousands, whose words could calm the tempest. He's my bread of life, and he's my peace. I still serve an amazing God. He's been with me every mile my weary feet have trod. He still cares. He still heals. He's still mending broken hearts and drying tears. This old world is bound to change, but I'm glad I know the one who always stays the same, and my song will ever be. Amazing God, you're still amazing me. I still serve an amazing God. He's been with me every mile my weary feet have trod. He still cares. He still heals. He still Thank you. I think we've been a call on our piper, and I think we are, where'd my program disappear?
It's coming back, honey.
Oh, here we are.
Yeah.
I'm glad we have a flag on it to keep track of it.
Okay. We're getting near the close of the program, and we're going to ask Alex Strecker. He's our piper to come, and we're going to sing together, and we'll stand and sing Amazing Grace.
Would you like to stand? The words are in your program.
Yeah, we want to thank our piper. We should give him a hand. We enjoyed him.
Thank you, Alex. Great job.
Great job. I don't know where to get all the wind to do that, but they do. It was great. I want to thank those that prepared the program, the hard work that went into make all this gathering together happen. And it takes a lot of work, and then there's ones that have prepared the upcoming little snack that we're going to have. And
Can I interject?
Sure.
Speaking of the snacks and the reception time, Jane's given us a little cue here, and then we'll close off with a prayer. She says, thank everyone for coming out today, and we've done that. And we'd like you to please help yourself to some light refreshments. And in those light refreshments, you'll find some selections from the British biscuits. And are they oatmeal?
Some of them.
British biscuits? Oh, there's different kinds. Okay. And cookies. Ah. And will we know which ones they are when they're out? Oh, we'll just guess. Yeah, okay. Or find a person from this family and they'll know which ones they are. So those are the British biscuits and the cookies to choose from. And we mentioned this earlier, there are some small cups, little sample cups of iron brew. You say it like an iron and brew, like a brew.
I hear there's no alcohol in that.
There's no alcohol in it, so it's okay, folks.
Still drive home if you had 3.
Oh, you can still drive home after 3. Okay, the number 1 selling soft drink in Scotland. And Jane told me a story about Alex having his own command post in their apartment. That's where his chair was and the things that were around him, and that was one of the things that he would have right beside him on the chair. So be sure to try some of that iron brew. And you have to try it. Jane hates it, I think. You might love it, so give it a whirl. All of these items are from the UK shop in Peterborough, and Jane would like you to know that, because if you like what you eat and drink and are looking for something that might have come from the UK, that shop is in Peterborough, just across from Quarry Park. So if you're looking for that, it's not just for British people to go there, it's for everyone. So if you haven't visited the shop, you're missing out, she says. And you do not have to be British to shop there. There are many amazing foods and gifts and chocolates and more and more and more. We'd just like to remind you that before you leave today, there's a very unique guest book at the back. It happens to be the mat that goes around the picture that Jane has of Alex. So be sure to write your name on that white mat before you leave today, and it's just at the door as you're leaving, as you exit. And the other thing is that you may find it a little bit challenging to get out of Lakefield. You might have found it a challenge to get into Lakefield, but getting out, you cannot go back that one-way street by the bridge. You have to go out Regent and go this way. But don't think that you can go all the way down and come back up the canal, because it's not available either for you. So if you need some directions, are they on the door, Jane? The doorways have the directions for getting out of town, so check there if you're not sure where to go when you leave. I'm sure you'll find it's a very small little place. So Merlin, we're going to ask you to pray for the gathering as we close, and also have a blessing for our food. Okay, let's all pray together.
Could we stand and as we pray together? Heavenly Father, we're so thankful that we've had the privilege of knowing the man, Alex Todd, who has touched all of our lives. We have been so blessed. We pray that you would comfort all the family from here to Scotland. Heal the sorrow and turn it into joy, because we know where Alex is. Thank you for his life. He will always be in our hearts, loved and missed forever. Thank you, Lord. And we ask that you would bless the hands that prepared this food we're about to receive. And we thank you for it, and all the ones that have been involved today. We thank you in Jesus' lovely name. Amen. All God's people say, Amen. Amen.